The parable we've just listened to this morning is a reminder about being ready. 5 bridesmaids were ready and 5 were not. The parable ends with a very clear message. So stay awake, because you do not know either the day or the hour. Today we can listen to this parable and consider its message in relation to our own readiness for our moment of death. In this month of November, the month of the Holy Souls, I think it's a very appropriate time to reflect upon our readiness for death. Death comes to all of us, but we do not know the day or the hour. We can have our own expectations, of course, in terms of our age and general health conditions. We can imagine our life expectancy, but of course this can lead to a certain complacency, because none of us know how and when our death will come. And if there seems no immediate prospect of dying, then we can find ourselves more living for this world and its attractions. So there is a warning for us to be found in the parable that's given to us by the Lord today. The foolish virgins were simply not ready. And the hour came, a time when they did not expect. They were badly caught out. So the question we can ask ourselves today, am I ready to meet the Lord? Is my house in order? Maybe some basic questions we could ask ourselves. For instance, is my personal relationship with God at this moment sound? Or have I slipped into a time when I'm taking God a little bit for granted? What is the current strength of my daily union with God? This can be tested simply in terms of our commitment to personal prayer. The second point, have I become really more caught up with the demands of life and not really attentive to the quality of my Christian life? Am I continuing to attempt to grow in Christian virtue and Christian holiness? A third point we could ask ourselves, have I allowed an area of sin to take some control over my life? Flowing on from this, have I a truly repentant heart, asking God very humbly for mercy and forgiveness? How long is it since I've been to confession? Thus, is my soul in a good place at this moment? Another point we can say, am I seriously seeking to deepen my union with God and live a genuine Christian discipleship? Do I have a deep desire for heaven? And finally, have I entrusted my life and my future into the hands of God, submissive to the will of God, but living with genuine Christian hope? As we know, the Lord uses parables to address what he recognises as the lack of understanding and perception among his listeners. This parable, we can note, is one that is directed precisely towards his disciples. So no doubt he's sensing maybe a danger of complacency among those who are following him in their own dedication to their life in God. Because we all know how easy it is to become lukewarm in our spiritual and Christian life. Yes, we identify as Catholics, we attend Mass, but it is possible that the rest of our life is pretty secular. We take on many of the patterns of thinking and acting that are the same as those around us who have no faith. We are Catholic in name, but our lives can be indistinguishable from those around us. And we've become far from being the salt of the earth and light of the world that the Lord expects of us. Now, the Christian life is always one of ongoing conversion. and thus it does require a constant examination of conscience. And this parable too can open up the question of just how practically we are prepared to embrace our own journey, path of dying. Because the dying process is not just a passive one. It's not just a slipping out of life. Dying is in fact a journey. It's a journey from this world to the next. And it's a journey that we are all to undertake with faith and with hope. The Christian then is to be actively involved in their own personal dying process. And the Church offers many helps and supports on this final journey that each of us must take. So again, some pointers to consider today. First one, have I spent some time just quietly considering my eventual death and begun to consider how I might approach it? There are some practical considerations, of course, that are important, like getting my own affairs in order. And even if I'm young, I think it's very good to have prepared for death and perhaps written a will. Secondly, am I clear in my mind about addressing some of the ethical issues that I could have to confront, like what is appropriate and what is unnecessary treatment? Am I absolutely decided about not seeking any form of euthanasia? And thirdly, have I thought about my passing from my loved ones? Is there some reconciliation that I really would like to have take place? And have I thought about how I might say farewell? How I might express my love for them? And fourthly, do I really desire and want to ensure that I'm able to receive the spiritual supports that the Church offers during my dying process? That I really want to make a very good confession. And I want to receive Holy Communion as long as I can. And I want to be and receive the sacrament of the anointing of the sick. And I would really love to have spiritual support of prayers around me as I'm dying. And finally, I think it's a very good thing to write down any special instructions that we may have about our dying, and also about our funeral, about which church, which readings, what particular hymns I would like to have. Very simply, we can prepare for dying. Because dying is a spiritual journey, and it's one which we can undertake inspired and guided by our faith. There's a hymn I'm sure we all know, and I'm sure we all love. Abide with me. It was written in 1847 by an Anglican cleric, Henry Francis Light. And I think it very beautifully expresses the attitude and faith of the Christian as they approach death. I'd like to offer the words, and you might just listen to them today in terms of my entering into dying. Abide with me. Fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens. Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Swift to its close ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay and all around I see. O thou who changest not, abide with me. I need thy presence every passing hour, but what thy grace can foil the tempter's power, who like thyself my guide and stay can be. Through cloud and sunshine, Lord, abide with me. I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where grave thy victory? I triumph still, if thou abide with me. Hold thou thy cross before my closing eyes. Shine through the gloom and point me to the skies. Heaven's morning breaks and earth's vain shadows flee. In life, in death, O Lord, abide with me.